Hey. Good? Here we go again. All right, my friends, we have some solidarity to get to this morning. Please take your seats. Do you wanna, sorry. Hey everybody, we want to take a very important solidarity photo. So if you could please find your seats, especially up at the front, so it looks nice and crowded with lots of solidarity. Okay.
Can I just talk about it right now while that? Okay. Yeah. The flags up.
Okay, we're going to wait for our photographers and do a photo later.
Just remember the lives or the mics are live. doing the first part.
That wasn't changed. No amendments to resolutions. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, except in the events
And a certain amount I would just start.
pursuant to Robert's Rules of Order.
So, my question is, given that
So the reason I say that is because that particular rule takes place outside the meeting. The fact that nothing takes effect until the minutes are approved by the board. So what's your question in that regard? Realistically?
So is this not actually required? Is this the one that requires that it's not approved until it's not takes place?
No, this isn't what that is. This has to do with because you had a certain amount of time. Yeah, new amendments from the floor. You had a certain amount of
This is not a
time.
new amendment. This is an existing item on the agenda.
Okay.
That I want us to pass. But the thing is, it won't take effect immediately. So I would like a subsequent motion.
What do you mean you want to suppress it?
I want a subsequent motion that will make the amendment take effect.
Or take place immediately. I would say no, based on the fact that is, you can only suspend the rules for what takes place in procedure in the meeting. That rule that says that nothing takes effect until the board approves the minutes, that takes place outside the meeting. The approval of the minutes, the things that take effect are after the meeting. So in my judgment,
It's not in the rules that, it's not in our office rules that that's the requirement, it's outside. Because I would think if it's in the rules.
well, again, if you all want to do that, I would get us to assess.
Good morning, everyone. We're about to get started. If you could please take your seats. I have just a few announcements. One not very exciting one is we left this room kind of messy yesterday for the lovely union workers who run this hotel. So if you could please sort of maintain your personal space a little bit better today and just make sure that when you leave at the end of the day, that you're taking everything that you brought with you. That would be extremely helpful, and we would really appreciate that. The second thing is, so a number of chapters have signed up through our Jane McAlevey calls to get free copies or discounted copies, I can't quite remember, of No Shortcuts. And I think that there's about 100 chapters whose books are here, and you can pick them up at the info table if you want to leave the convention with them. Those are great books, so I highly recommend that you do that if you were one of the chapters that signed up for them. And then I'm sure you all remember that we played around a lot with our agenda yesterday. But just to remind everyone, we're going to pick back up with the business that we left off with. So I believe we're starting with the resolution on the Bernie's people. I'm going to wait and let Beth quote it because she just looked at it. But she's going to kick us off today. And with that, we're going to get started. Thank you all.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, so we are back to debating more motions and more proposals. Who's excited for some comradely debate amongst comrades? Awesome. Okay, I put together a few slides. Lawrence, If I, could I get the slides? Oh, sorry.
That was my assessment.
Can I get the tech team to?
So just to inform you.
Sorry.
You guys proceed in the way you want. Final say is in the house.
Okay, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 on your finger is how good are you feeling this morning? I'm like, like an 8. Okay. Great. Okay, this morning, so this morning, so we left off, if you all remember, in the event of a Sanders loss. The first set of things that we'll be taking up today will be the rest of the electoral resolutions, including the petition to Bernie Sanders for a People's Foreign Policy Platform, class struggle elections, striking language on an amendment, candidate litmus test resolution, and then PAC spending for nationally endorsed candidates. After that, we'll move on to some of the membership and organizing developments. Could I get the slides about comradely debate? Maybe. Okay, who is familiar with this meme? Yes? Okay. Always be comradely. Okay, can I get the next one? Okay, so we all agreed to show our comrades respect, and what that means is that we're using ASL applause, that we're not booing or hissing, and that we're not waving signs so that people can stay focused and don't have lots of distractions. It also means that another one of our community agreements is move up, move back, and we will be using progressive stack today. Great. Could I get the next one? Okay, so a few practical things. I am aware, and I'm sure many of you are aware, that things move super fast or feel like they're taking forever. And so both of those are true at the same time. So the handful of things I want to note are that the chairs will try to repeat what we're voting on as much as is useful. Knowing that we are going to try to repeat what we're voting on at least twice, please refrain from making parliamentary inquiries or points of order, because we are really going to try to repeat what we're voting on. So it is not necessary to ask for that, unless we're really screwing it up, which you should then ask for that. And we will try to clarify and repeat as much as possible. Second, we'll be using progressive stack. Marshals will be at each mic to kind of negotiate progressive stack. We know that not every oppression is visible, so we will have people at each mic to think about who's already spoken before, gender, race, ability, orientation, and more. And then I want to see if we have some consensus on norms in this room. I think it's useful when we hear one person speak for something and one person speak against something. So can we have a norm of not closing debate until someone has spoken for and against? Okay, great. And then if you have a point of privilege about something that you see or don't see on the screen, please go to one of the tech tables at the front on either side so that, so that they can resolve it, and they will try their best to resolve it, and then we won't have to all hear everyone's requests. And then, can I get the next one? The next slide. Okay, so please think before making a procedural motion. Please, 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 just think for a moment. Is it worth it to debate this procedural motion? 1 minute here means that it's 1,000 socialist time. That's enough time to knock on 50 doors in a reasonably dense urban neighborhood. So let's please think. Please think for a minute before you make a procedural motion because it might take a while. And then do I have another one? Oh, I do have another one. Could you go to the next slide? Okay, so finally, we know that this is stressful. Democracy is hard. It requires discipline. Please do take care of yourself. We will not have a good debate if we're all like hangry or tired. There is, I think there's a picket line today. Walking and yelling at capitalists is a great way to get out your anxiety. So if you do want to go to that, I would highly encourage you to hand over your voting card to someone who you trust, because we all need to take care of ourselves in different ways. Yours, like mine, might be yelling at capitalists. So please do take care of yourself. So with that, let's open up debate on resolution number 39, petition to Bernie Sanders for a people's policy platform. Is there someone who'd like to motivate that?
Hello. Hi. Aram Falsafi, Seattle DSA, he, him. I'm one of the co-authors of this, and so I'll jump right into it. Basically, Bernie always says, not me, us. So let's show him that the we, the us, demands an anti-empire, anti-war foreign policy, an area where he's been better than everybody else, but could use some improvement, definitely. So imagine an online petition under the DSA logo, which is endorsed by your local anti-war group, your local Palestine Solidarity group, your local Central America human rights group, and collecting hopefully a few 100,000 signatures, right? And this from DSA and non-DSA members. Now, this could affect his foreign policy, we believe. I mean, we saw this with Palestine in 2016. His position improved quite a bit from the beginning to the end of the campaign. So, and I want to emphasize, the goal here is not to stake out a DSA position on foreign policy, is to get Bernie to stake out a foreign policy position. So that means we need to be aware of what we can demand based on our numbers and our power relative to his campaign of millions of people. So, for example, we demand that he take on a position in support of the right to engage in BDS, not the right to we don't ask him to support BDS, but the right to boycott. So that is a limit, not because not because we don't support BDS, but because we don't think we could get him to do that. And also end support for war in Yemen, but not end all military sales to the Middle East, because I don't think we can get that from him. And finally, this could be a recruitment tool for DSA. So as far as I'm concerned, all international-minded progressives should be members of DSA, and this is a way to get them to see where DSA stands on issues, and we also get their names that the national office can follow up with. And it doesn't list every country because we can't. It's the countries that we think are countries that are in the news and issues that he would have to deal with as president in January 2021.
Okay, is there a speaker against?
Brendan Davison, Kansas City, DSA. Comrade Chair, I support nearly everything in this resolution with one exception, and that is the provisions concerning the International Criminal Court. While I support this resolution with the exception of those provisions, I do not feel we should be advocating for the recognition of the ICC, as I do not believe it is a worthwhile institution in any way, shape, or form. It has completely failed at the international level and has been repeatedly used to serve Western interests rather than the interests of oppressed nations and colonized peoples. We should not be supporting an institution like that. And so while I do think we should lift the sanctions on the ICC placed on the Trump administration, placed by the Trump administration, we should not be supporting its recognition. Other than that, I fully support this resolution. That one objection holds me back from voting in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there another speaker for?
Hi, I'm Trey from Memphis Mid-South DSA. They, them pronouns, please. I'm sorry. So I rise today to speak in favor of this resolution to strike a blow against the chauvinism that invades our politics. We cannot continue to criticize and engage in imperialism against these countries. We need to respect the sovereignty of Cuba. We need to stand in solidarity with Palestine. We need to recognize that these countries are the people in these countries matter just as much as we do, and we need to free them from Western imperialism. The United States has always been an agent of propping up right-wing dictatorships and engaging in violence against these communities, and it's time to call on a major presidential candidate to take an anti-imperialist stance. Thank you.
Is there another speaker against?
Tom from Milwaukee DSA, he or they pronouns. I'm speaking against this resolution, although I agree with much of the spirit of this resolution, because I think that this isn't the right tactic on this issue. I think very likely this petition would require more effort to promote and to organize around than might have been suggested in the resolution or in the budget estimate. And I think we should focus on strategies that lead people into organizing in real life as much as possible rather than online. So I'm sorry, and if there is no, well, it looks like there may be further debate, but if this seems like a good time to call the question, I will do that in the interest of time.
Okay, there's been a motion to call the question. Is there a second? Okay.
Point of order.
Yep.
I move to consider this resolution by paragraph so that we vote on each bullet point individually. Because of
Okay, hold on.
excuse me. Sorry. Because of the COMRADE's objection to the ICC, it would be to the language including the ICC.
Okay, so there has been a request to vote on this. Hold on. By paragraph, I think that would require us to suspend the rules, which requires 2/3.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
I'm going to look into it to make sure, but you can divide the question after the previous question has been ordered, after the vote takes place.
Oh, you can divide it.
You can divide it after the previous question takes place. It's non-debatable. Yeah. But I don't think you can go by, I don't think you can divvy it up into paragraphs.
Could we divide it into everything?
Well, it's a different motion, but I'm just trying to let you know.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So our parliamentary...
Point of inquiry, would it be, Brendan Davis and KCDSA, would it be permissible to make a friendly amendment to remove the language around the ICC? No, it is not?
No.
Okay, withdrawn.
Okay, so there's been a motion to end debate that requires a 2/3 vote.
Point of order.
We are looking at the ability to divide the question, so to consider different portions of it. But let's go through the motion to call the question to end debate. So all those in favor of ending debate, please raise your placards. All those opposed? All right, that carries. Hold on, let me consult the parliamentarian for 1 second. After consulting with the parliamentarian, the request to divide the question into paragraphs is not in order. So right now we're going to vote on resolution number 39, petition to Bernie Sanders for a People's Foreign Policy Platform. All those in favor of resolution 39, please raise your placards. All opposed? All right, that carries. And next, we're moving on to resolution number 31, class struggle elections. Is there someone who would like to motivate?
Wait, point of order. I just want to point out that that last debate did not use progressive stack.
Okay, thank you for that. We will try better, more next. Okay. Okay, so next up is resolution number 31. Is there someone who would like to motivate this resolution? Name, pronouns, and chapter.
Yes, I would like to motivate this resolution. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Megan Swabita. I'm from East Bay DSA, and I am running for NPC on the Bread and Roses slate. And I'm here to motivate Resolution 31, class struggle elections. So first, I want to say that it's really hard to imagine the socialist movement without the 2016 Bernie Sanders campaign or the election of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a democratic socialist. Their campaigns pushed our ideas out to millions of people. They inspired people to organize in their workplaces, join DSA, and fight for a better world. As socialists, we know that we need a unified and strong working class to defeat capitalism and win socialism. These campaigns, and so many like them all over the U.S., have shown us that running class struggle candidates, who, like Bernie Sanders said recently, run not as legislators but as organizers, dedicated to building a movement and fighting for our demands, is critical to organizing the working class and winning socialism. We cannot endorse everyone. It's so important to remember that progressive Democrats will not fight for this. They will not fight to build a movement for socialism. We need to know who we are endorsing, why. Resolution 31 proposes a strategy. It gives us guidance for a national endorsement and says that the National Electoral Committee will figure out a base level of support for every nationally endorsed candidate. It creates a candidate pipeline so we can identify and support more socialists and working class people running for office. It also says that we will apply this strategy to the Bernie Sanders campaign so that we can build a movement for socialism alongside a movement to elect Bernie Sanders. And finally, it says that we need a new party. We all know that the Democratic Party is funded by the ruling class. And if we want to win socialism, if we want to defeat capitalism, we are going to need a party that will organize working people to fight for the demands that we want and to win socialism. Thank you so much.
Great.
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronouns?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
First, a point of information. There was an amendment to this resolution. Is that still being considered?
Oh, you're right. There is an amendment.
Yeah, but we would be debating that amendment now. You're in no
It's just been motivated.
Yeah. So it's been motivated. Okay.
If somebody wants to bring it up.
Yeah, if there's someone who would like to motivate amendment number 8, you can do that now. All right, name, gender, and pronouns, please. Could someone get a mic to the comrade in the green?
Thank you.
Text of the amendment.
So the amendment number 8 is right below. It's coming up real soon. Okay, here we go. So amendment number 8 is striking language on an independent workers' party. It would be in order right now for someone to motivate amendment number 8.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sam Lewis. He, him. I'm from the New York City DSA chapter. This very simple amendment is to strike the language about forming an independent party. I want, in conversation with the authors of the proposal since, I think we're all in agreement that we do want to build a mass organization, political organization of the working class that vies for state power. So it's not an attempt to get rid of that shared goal. The problem with the language, as I see it, is that it counterposes forming an independent working class party with the tactical use of the democratic line. So it's basically saying, in the future, we will break with our tactical use of the democratic line. I think many of us have an agnostic position on that question, right? We want to behave in the most strategic way as class politics in this country develops. We don't want to commit to what has historically been a failed strategy in the United States of forming a third-party ballot line. So I consider this a friendly debate. I will be voting for the proposal whether or not this passes, but I think it's important to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that we are currently debating amendment number 8, which is striking language on an independent workers' party. So if we think about the flowchart of Robert's Rules, we've moved off of the main resolution, which is class struggle elections, and are talking about amendment number 8. If you would like to speak for amendment number 8, you're using this mic. If you want to speak against amendment number 8, you're using this mic. Okay, so is there someone who would like to speak against amendment number 8?
Thanks. My name is Marianela. I'm a member of Chicago DSA. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm running for MPC on the Bread and Roses slate. I'm speaking against this amendment because, yes, we're using the Democratic Party ballot line tactically now. We're building using elections to build a movement of the working class for itself. We're using elections to draw the lines between the interests of the working class and the interests of the capitalist class. And we have to be able to organize, you have to be able to seize that energy to eventually break with the Democratic Party and build a party that actually represents the working class majority of this country. We know that the bosses have 2 parties and we don't have any. And so I'm against this amendment because I believe that we need to keep in our horizon the possibility and the goal of building an independent socialist working class party that represents our interests and not those of the bosses.
All right, thanks for whoever started clapping and then switched over to ASL applause. Thank you. Let's try to use this as much as possible. Is there another speaker for amendment number 8? I heard a motion to call the question. Is there a second? Someone needs to run a mic, or you need to get to a mic if you shouted point of order.
Yesterday, the chair and the parliamentarian said that in order to call the question, you had to come in line and get to a microphone, stay in the line to call the question.
Good
you
call.
can't blurt it out from the chair.
Yes, you're correct.
Can I call
that
the
did
question
happen.
at this mic?
Thank you. Is there someone who is planning on calling the question from the mic?
Hi, Veronica, she, her, Pioneer Valley DSA. I motion to call the question. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of ending debate on amendment number 8? All opposed? That carries. And now now we are voting on amendment number 8, which is striking language on an independent workers' party. All those in favor of amendment number 8 to strike the language on an independent party.
Point of personal privilege. Could the big line maybe sit down? I'm a little worried that people on different sides of the room might not be seen for this vote.
Yes, if
Thank
you're
you. I appreciate that.
in line, if you could take a seat, that would be great. Okay. So we are currently voting on amendment number 8, which is to strike language on an independent workers' party. All those in favor of amendment number 8, please raise your placards. All those opposed? I think the noes have it. So amendment number 8 does not pass. And we are back to debating Resolution 31. Is there another speaker for? And I'm assuming that you are negotiating amongst yourselves on who's speaking. Okay. So name, chapter, pronouns.
Hi, comrades. My name is Jack McShane. I'm from the East Bay chapter, and I'm a member of the Bread and Roses Caucus. Last year, I worked on our campaign to elect Javanka Beckles to California State Assembly. And this campaign was a true class struggle campaign, and I want to explain what I mean by that. This campaign raised the expectations of the working class by producing a groundbreaking platform that called for social housing in California. It called for the enfranchisement of undocumented people in state and local elections, and it called for a Green New Deal at a time before AOC was even calling for it on the federal level. She was unafraid to call out capitalists as the problem and call out the Democratic Party for failing to stand up for working people. And she helped to lift up She helped to lift up striking workers by mobilizing people to their picket lines through her campaign. So these are candidates that DSA must be endorsing on a national level if we want to lay the groundwork for a working class party in our time that can truly organize the working class on a level that we have never before seen in this country. This is our chance to lay that groundwork. We should pass Resolution 31 today to implement a class struggle electoral strategy through our national organization. So the candidates that we endorse on a national level should be class struggle candidates only. And that way we know that we're using elections to organize the working class, not just to elect politicians who will deliver us reforms from above, but we know that to fight for socialism and win the reforms that we need, we absolutely have to fight from below. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a speaker against?
There is. My name is Spike, he, him, San Francisco. I'd like to start off by thanking the writers of this resolution for putting it up for discussion. Although I agree with some of the points made, I don't think the strategy outlined in the resolution moves the DSA to be a hub for socialist candidates. First of all, the ideas to do so are underdeveloped. The idea talks about building a candidate pipeline, but neglects to expand upon how to go upon this extremely ambitious project. Furthermore, it calls us to build an independent left party, but again, outlines no such plan to accomplish this monumental feat. There's some very good ideas, but there's nothing but lip service and empty platitudes. Next, I believe this is a simple extension of our current electoral plan, which was based on the realities of 2016. It's almost 2020 now. Wake up. We don't need to push forward with the same tired ideas of yesterday. What our movement needs is strong material analysis of today. Political structure. We shouldn't forego introspection simply because a minority of socialists won a Senate race or two. Our chapters need material supports from national. Software to run programs, volunteers, that sort of thing. This resolution offers no training to local chapters to run their own candidates. When we ran a proposition to get a right to counsel for candidates facing eviction, we received no such help from the NEC. Imagine how much support they would give to chapters less resourced than San Francisco. I'll end with this. Without this support, we're going to fall back on endorsing anyone who is left of center, like Elizabeth Warren. We almost did that. Without being the backbone of candidates' campaign that we endorse, we get little leverage over them when we want to hold them accountable. If we can't hold our endorsed candidates accountable, how can we effectively push socialist ideas, much less win? Vote no on Resolution 31. Thank you.
Okay.
Call the question.
Okay. There's been a motion to call the question. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor of ending debate and calling the question requires 2/3. All opposed? that, could I see that again? And could folks who are in line maybe like kneel or squat down a little bit? Okay. Oh, that was so fast. Okay. All right, could I see that again? Yeah, Robert's Rules, page whatever, it says squat down. Okay, so all those in favor of ending debate, please raise your placards. And all those opposed? I think that passes. Well, no. Okay. I think it's hard to count, so I'm going to just allow it. Let's try having at least one more speaker for and against, and then we can call the question again. All right, so you all can stand up again. Okay, so is there another speaker for resolution number 31?
Cool. Hey, my name's Lillian Osborne. I'm from Chicago DSA. I'm in the Bread and Roses caucus. And this fall, winter, and spring, I worked on Carlos Rosa's re-election campaign in Chicago, where we just elected 6 socialists to office, which makes up over 10 or 12% of city council. And we did that through the way the COMRADE mentioned, which is through a material analysis. So I'm going to talk about what socialists need to do in order to advocate for the class struggle we need in order to build a mass working class movement that actually can hold elected officials accountable, like we've seen across the country in teachers' strike wave in the South, and that opened the door for socialists in Chicago after teachers went on strike in 2012. Accountability looks like 30,000 teachers in the street demanding an end to austerity, and we should not kid ourselves that in order to do that, in order to build that kind of strategy, or that kind of tactic, we need to embrace class struggle politics. So as socialists, we believe that workers have the power to change the world, and the only way they can do that on a massive scale that we need is by building a mass working class movement. But in order to wage a fight on that scale, working class people need 2 things. We need to see ourselves as capable of fighting for and winning the world we deserve. And we need to see who is keeping us from that and why. Surprise, it's the capitalist class and ever-increasing exploitation and the profit motive. If every choice we make as a national organization is not rooted in this analysis, we will fail to build the mass working class struggle necessary to change our world. Elections and elected office are an opportunity we need to seize in order to lift up and advance class struggle. On Carlos's campaign, we faced a notorious developer in one of the most rapidly gentrifying neighborhoods in the city. We took him head on, and he bankrolled our opponent. We called out big developers and the 1% and showed working people in Chicago that we deserve better and can win. Weeks after the election, Carlos held a public meeting to discuss building a 100% affordable housing building in the center of the heart of a gentrifying neighborhood.
It's time.
700 people showed up to a public meeting because they knew the stakes.
Hold on,
Thank you.
Okay, so is there another speaker against?
Yes, there is. I'm Daniel Ray. I'm from Piedmont, NC. My pronouns are he, him. I'd just like to speak out in opposition of this resolution because I believe that committing so many resources to electoral politics in the time frame that we have, which is about a decade, considering fascist uprisings and climate change, and with the amount of chances that we have for an electoral victory, which is basically Bernie Sanders, it would be actively dangerous to start to commit further than that, in my opinion. An electoral party, as we know, is very, very difficult to build. The resources of that would take away a lot from our ground street work. I am white, but I am a second-generation immigrant. My mom is a Muslim. She's from Azerbaijan. My grandmother is from Kazakhstan. We were on the chopping block from the Nazis when they invaded the Soviet Union, and we are on the chopping block now. And the time frame that we have available, it is not conducive of being able to continue the electoral struggle this long, that it would require to build a national party, whether it's inside the Democratic Party or not. I also believe that candidates can't really be grassroots organizers the same way that we'd like them to be. They're good, but they, the most my city has ever gotten is Obama sitting down at a burger joint. Thank you. And with the nature of electoral politics, when you don't have candidate outreach in towns like mine, the opposition, which in my case becomes fascism, gets stronger. I recede the rest of my time. Thank you.
Okay. Is there another speaker for?
Point of information.
Yes, on point.
This is Chance, he, him, at-large Texas. The previous speaker mentioned building an independent party or building an immediate independent party. Is that what this resolution calls for?
No.
Thank you.
I can't answer that, but perhaps someone can who's going to speak at some point. Is there another speaker for?
Yes, I would like to speak in for. My name's Anthony Joel Casada. I go by he, him pronouns. I'm from the Chicago chapter. Good morning, Chair. I rise to speak in abundant favor of this resolution. I'm here to report back that in my community of Logan Square, as my previous comrade Lillian has expressed, we had experienced and still do to this day an onslaught of developer greed and pay-to-play neoliberal politicians, which has resulted in the displacement of thousands of working-class Latinos and the further entrenchment of austerity measures that have guttered our city. These are the same realities that my family, my neighbors have experienced, and for a long time we did not see ourselves in any part of the electoral process. But since the election of Alderman Rosa in the 35th Ward in 2015, we have demonstrated how to use public office and progressive legislation to not only encourage working-class organization, but to help it grow. Most recently, we have identified and supported other class struggle candidates that use their campaigns to uplift grassroots movements and the demands for community control over the police, rent control, abolishing ICE, and expanding participatory democratic decision-making. So, we have actually implemented this, and we are here to report back to our comrades that this works, and we need to be principled in the candidates that we are choosing to support, and to actually help working class people identify these candidates as not another cog in the machine, but as actual representatives of breaking from the status quo, breaking from the political and economic establishment that the capitalist class has enforced on us. So the class struggle elections yield valuable political results and create an incredibly useful apparatus for working people to organize and to fight against the political and economic establishment. DSA should not only adopt this resolution, but should see it through. When we elected our 6 comrades to office, they are now representing 330,000 working-class Chicagoans. We are fighting against the capitalist class. That's what these elections represent. And I encourage all of us to support in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Great.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to call the question.
Okay. There's been a motion to call the question and a second. Yep. So that requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor, thank you for squatting. Raise your placards. All those opposed, that passed. So we're now ending debate, and we're going to vote on resolution number 31, class struggle elections. So if folks who are standing could find a seat nearby. So all those in favor of passing resolution number 31, class struggle elections, please raise your placards. And all those opposed. That passes. Okay, so next, let's move on to resolution number 48. That's the candidate litmus test resolution. Is there someone who would like to motivate resolution number 48?
Hey everyone, my name is Ben Fong. I'm from Phoenix DSA, he, him, and with Colin Putcher from Seattle, I wrote Resolution 48, the Candidate Litmus Test. What this resolution does, it introduces a minimum program that any electoral candidate seeking a national endorsement would need to affirm in order to receive a national endorsement. The planks in the litmus test should be very familiar: Medicare for all, workplace democracy, Green New Deal, and 11 other demands that are basic to democratic socialism. This is by no means a comprehensive list. It's just meant to draw certain lines in the sand. It's not every issue that DSA cares about, obviously. We believe that specifying these issues makes DSA and the candidates that we endorse more recognizable, more unified in our political messaging, and clearer. And without this clarity, we fear that democratic socialism would be more of a brand in the very important 2020 electoral cycle than an actual political position. I've heard a few concerns about the resolution. One is that it constrains chapters' endorsement processes. And I want to be clear, this preserves local autonomy. Chapters can endorse whoever they want. This just places restrictions on national endorsements. Another is that the questions ask too much of candidates, and I would... Oh, sorry about that. I would just encourage everyone to look over those questions, just read them through. Just imagine a candidate offering a full-throated no in reply to one of those questions. I don't think that's the kind of candidate that we want to endorse. And then finally, there's a concern about these questions not applying to local candidates. Like, why would we ask a school board candidate about the Green New Deal? And I think for a few reasons. First, that candidate might go on to seek higher office, and we could get them on record. Second, again, the questions are not so onerous. Even a progressive would say yes to most of them. And then finally, it's a good bit of political education for our candidates to know more about what democratic socialism means, so that it's not just a label that they take, but actually a political platform that they support. So we need our candidates to stand for something, and this resolution does that. Thanks.
Great, thank you. So I do want to note that the past 3 speakers have been men on different resolutions, so let's keep that in mind.
Motion to suspend the rules for an amendment that would make a difference for my campaign seeking endorsement.
There's been a motion to suspend the rules to make an amendment. This would require a 2/3 vote. I don't think so. To suspend the rules to take an amendment from the floor requires 2/3. So all those in favor of suspending the rules, and I heard a second also, thank you. So all those in favor of suspending the rules to...
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Since this would be a suspension of the special rules that we adopted for the convention, wouldn't it be a simple majority to suspend those rules and default back to the normal Roberts rules?
Suspending the rules takes 2/3.
He has a point, but let me describe something for you. In typical situations, it only takes a majority for a convention to suspend the rules. But, and I explained it to Natalie, in this particular rule, it would have no meaning. Because if it only takes a majority to suspend the rules, then why not just make an amendment? Because it only takes a majority. Okay. So in my judgment, you would have to use a 2/3 for that rule to have any meaning. You'd have to use 2/3 to suspend this rule.
Okay. I just consulted with the parliamentarian. This is going to take a 2/3 vote. So all those in favor of suspending the rules to take up an amendment from the floor, please raise your placards. All opposed? Okay, that fails. Okay, so we are back on debate about
Point of privilege.
Hold on, about Resolution 48, candidate litmus test resolution. If folks could wait until I am done saying a word, that would be awesome, please. So, what is your point of order? Privilege.
So since we did just take a vote, I would just like to again ask the people who are standing to maybe kneel or sit.
Yep. So, thank you. Okay, so we are back on debate, and I believe we are on the people who would like to speak against. I would like to note that the past 3 people have been men, so negotiate amongst yourselves. And is there a speaker against?
I'm totally cool with him going first.
Okay, that's fine.
I talked a lot yesterday.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ron Joseph, pronouns he, him, Philly/Buxmont DSA. Now, Pennsylvania State Representative Liz Fiedler is a leftist candidate who won with the help and endorsement of Philly DSA. But to my knowledge, she does not publicly identify as Democratic Socialist, especially when compared to many other candidates from across the country that DSA has endorsed. Now, does that make our endorsement of her worth any less? No. Her victory as a DSA-endorsed candidate raised the profile of democratic socialism, and now she's leading fights to expand Fair Workweek statewide and to support the rights of incarcerated women, thus showing what democratic socialism might look like in practice. This would also prevent us from endorsing great leftist fighters like Representative Ilhan Omar, who also does not identify as a democratic socialist if our membership wishes to do so. While the profile of DSA and democratic socialism is rising, it does not mean that we can match the power of other non-socialist progressive organizations and working class groups, each of whom has many more members than the DSA. Therefore, we cannot afford to impose premature litmus tests on our candidate endorsements at this time, which is full of opportunities and risks. Therefore, I encourage the assembled body to oppose resolution number 48. Thank you.
Is there another speaker for?
I would like to make a motion to call the question.
Okay, there's been a motion to call the question and a second. All those in favor, could folks in line squat down? Thanks. All those in favor, oh my God, this is really funny to watch. Okay, all those in favor of ending debate and calling the question, please raise your placards. And all those opposed? That fails. Okay, so we're back to speakers 4 and name, chapter, pronouns.
Point of inquiry?
Yes.
Does the resolution as written preclude endorsements by local chapters or only the NPC?
It does not preclude local chapter endorsements, if I heard the first speaker correctly. Okay, so we are going back to speakers 4, name, chapter, pronouns.
Hi, I'm Melissa, she, her pronouns, and I'm from Philly. I helped work on Elizabeth Fiedler's campaign. When she was seeking national endorsement, she joined DSA. So she is, in fact, a socialist. And the other thing I would like to point out about the previous speaker's points is that we just passed Resolution 31, which says that we will, as a national organization, only endorse open socialists. Just to continue with some stuff. So what I wanted to speak about with this resolution is that the point of it is to better articulate what this national organization is seeking in its electoral candidates. It's written in a similar spirit as Resolution 31. The main difference is that it articulates standards for who we're nationally endorsing, not who people are locally endorsing, and it's more focused on policy. So it tries to speak to issues of accountability and actually ask who, when we put our name, our national organization's name on a candidate, what do we expect them to do in office? So this resolution would establish a base of political positions and policies, supporting Medicare for all, supporting comprehensive immigration reform, and committing to ending mass incarceration that a candidate would have to support in order to get a national endorsement. If 48 passes, it does not infringe on the ability of locals to endorse candidates as they see fit. But candidates who are unwilling to take positions saying that they will support worker organizing, universal child care, or any of the other 13 standards laid out in the resolution would not be eligible for an additional national endorsement. This resolution, together with Resolution 49, would make it so that any candidate who endorses progressive and socialist policies can get additional resources from national in the form of money from our national PAC and volunteer power from around the organization. This resolution will remove ambiguity in who gets national endorsements and help us better pool our resources for candidates across the country and small and big locals alike.
Time's up. Okay. I think there's some folks at the third mic.
Point of information, a close reading of the beginning of the resolution says, be it therefore resolved that DSA's NEC, National Political Committee, and all
What's your
affiliated...
clarifying question?
Clarifying question. All affiliated local/chapters may only endorse candidates who answer in the affirmative to the following question. So that would seem to imply that the previous statement that it would not apply to local chapters is incorrect. Is there any pushback against that, or do we have an incorrect copy of the resolution?
Could I get a very quick response from someone?
Oh, so sorry.
Yes, that's the previous version of the resolution. The amended version has changed the language.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so
for
much.
The clarification.
Can I make a point of privilege, please?
Point of inquiry, sorry.
I heard the point of privilege before the point of inquiry, so we're going to go first here and then there. Okay.
I just want to say to Madam Chair that two comrades, both a person of color and a woman, was talking, and people were having discussion while they were talking. It's completely disrespectful, and a lot of our folks with disabilities have asked multiple times the last 2 days, for folks to contain their conversations, to ensure that folks are able to accurately get the information from our other comrades to make democracy work here. So please, 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 keep our voices silent so that our comrades can talk and our comrades can understand what we are trying to push forth in this convention.
Great, thank you. And then there's a point of inquiry.
Just want to clarify, the motivation from the Philly comrade talked about comprehensive immigration reform being part of the resolution, and there's amended language that strikes that out. So I just want to clarify that we are voting on the amendments which were friendly to that. It's a very different category.
Okay.
That we would oppose comprehensive immigration reform and would make that very clear in the litmus test.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. We are voting on the amended version with friendly amendments incorporated. Okay. Is there another speaker against? Name, chapters, and pronouns.
Hello again, everyone, for, I don't know, the third or fourth time. I am still Rachel. I am still she, they. I am still from here. I want to speak as an organizer in the South, where it is very different. We are up against people who are so gerrymandered, who are so disenfranchised that it takes Herculean efforts to win a single election, let alone win the many elections we need to even have a chance of solving our problems here. And when I see that number one, are you a democratic socialist? What I see is forcing our candidates into a death sentence because we have people who don't understand what socialism is here yet. We need people who are going to be willing to endorse our values, even if they're not willing to say explicitly they are democratic socialists. And when you put legislation like this into our bylaws, into our resolutions, you cut our legs out from under us in the South. We need everything we can get, because if we do not get these people out of power, we never will. We do not have time. I keep saying it. I will keep saying it. We do not have time. Now, I understand if you're in Portland, if you're in New York, if you are in a solidly blue area, yes, absolutely demand that they call themselves a democratic socialist. But if you are in the South, you owe us better than that. Do not do this to us.
Call the question.
Okay, there's been a motion to call the question. Is there a second? Okay. If you could squat or find a seat. Okay. All those in favor of ending debate, please raise your placards. All opposed? That carries. We've ended debate on resolution number 48. All those in favor of resolution number 48, candidate litmus test resolution, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. Okay, so next we are on resolution number 49, PAC spending for nationally endorsed candidates. Yes, thank you. Is there someone who would like to motivate resolution number 49?
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Dustin Guastella, Philadelphia, and I wrote Resolution 49 with a comrade of mine, Alex Nagel. The idea behind Resolution 49 is quite simple. We have a PAC that DSA has established some years ago. In the 2018 wave election, that PAC only spent money on bank fees. What this resolution would do is fund that PAC to the tune of $500,000. Now, where's that money going to come from? That's $8 from every member of DSA. Once we fund that PAC, we can use that money to spend on local candidates, to spend on nationally endorsed candidates. And what this resolution calls for is to say that we're going to spend at least $2,000 or the maximum federal limit, whichever is lower, on our nationally endorsed candidates. That may not seem like a lot of money, but let me tell you, if you're running a state ledge race and you're trying to get it off the ground, $2,000 injected in cash is a huge amount of money. And if we can collectively pool our resources, $500,000 could win races from the Northeast to the Southwest to the Northwest easily for us. So I ask you, I urge you to vote for this resolution so that we can fund our candidates, so that we can move forward and actually support our democratically endorsed candidates for this organization. Thank you very much. Vote yes for this resolution.
Okay. Is there a speaker against?
Hi, my name is Miriam, she, her, New York City, Queens. I've spent most of my energy for the last 2 years working very hard on electoral politics for and with DSA candidates, both Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Tiffany Caban. And I feel passionately that that was great work and that the national endorsement helped. I am still against this resolution because I do not think that this is the way to best strengthen either our electoral work or our organization. There are only so many times we can go back to the well for our members, for our things. And when we do that, it should be for DSA's funding all these projects that we've been passing now and our educational programs. What DSA should be offering is to national things is our volunteer time, our connections, and our energy. We can help financially when we send out a notice that DSA has endorsed Tiffany Caban. She's fabulous for these reasons. We urge you to give money. And people won't feel like it's an appeal to DSA. Then it becomes this separate little thing to give to this exciting candidate. Thank you.
Okay.
Point of information.
On point, where's the point of information coming from? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nate, him from Atlanta. I remember there being some concerns about campaign finance law when this was originally submitted. I believe that that may have been resolved with friendly amendments. Is that the case? Could anybody speak on that
Okay,
from the
could
authors?
we answer that in a minute, and then we'll take a speaker for, and then we'll get back to your question. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Feinan, she, her, New York City. I want to speak in favor of this resolution, first and foremost, because organizing requires resources. And if we want to build a movement that's able to support people, not based on what campaign donors or the entrenched elements of the Democratic Party want, but based on what we believe in as people who just voted in favor of a resolution for class struggle elections, then what we need is to have the kind of funding to support our local chapters in being able to carry out elections just like that. We need organizers. We need paperwork. We need flyers. We need to be able to have meeting space. All of those things don't come very easily. Our national organization has a lot to give, and if we are going to be behind candidates who believe in fighting for the working class, then what we should do is support them with everything we've got. Thanks.
Okay, is there an answer?
Point of information.
Hold on. Could we get an answer, and then we'll go back to you?
So this is in response to the question about legal concerns. So I'm looking at an email now from DSA's attorney who reviewed the current draft with that includes friendly amendments. There was one concern about some of the language suggesting potentially that new members would be asked to contribute to the PAC upon joining, which is a violation of federal campaign finance law, but the resolution in and of itself is vague enough about that I think we would just, to be consistent and operating within the law, not have it on their dues, not on their new member form, but send an email after they've joined. So I don't think that imposes a legal barrier. I think there are still some concerns about whether 80 hours of the development director's time will raise $500,000 for the PAC. But again, that's not a legal concern. And then, of course, the federal election law requirement for no more than $5,000 in expenditures still stands per candidate. But we would, of course, have to abide by that in distributing funds from the PAC.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I saw a point of something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, point of interest. My question was, could the money from the PAC be used for local ballot initiatives? My name is Zach, Tucson, DSA, he, him. As I'm reading through it, I just saw candidates, but I didn't know if this money could go to ballot initiatives
Does
too.
someone have an answer to that question?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I have forgotten where we are. I think we are on
Point of
speaker
clarification?
against. Yes.
I just, from some of the things I'm hearing around, I think we need to understand clearly as far as PAC money and general money, money from our general budget, is it not the case? We cannot take money from Green New Deal, Medicare for All, general expenses, and take it away to give it to political
Sorry, what's your
things.
clarifying question?
Yes. Is it not the case that we're not going to be taking money from other things to put in the PAC?
Yes. Okay. All right, let's go to the speakers against. Name, chapters, pronouns.
Hello, Elizabeth, Silicon Valley, she, her. I would oppose this resolution because seeing the numbers 500,000 up there is just eye-watering. As someone, who spends a lot of time to get money from our members so that we can pay for meeting spaces, so that we can pay for printing, so that we can run the basic activities of the organization that, that builds what we're all doing here. I don't think socialism is something we can ever buy. And this is, to that effect, I don't think we should keep pestering our members to give money that will be distributed from the top down. And I think that any sort of fundraising proposals that we commit to should be grounded in the day-to-day work of our chapters and not to spend on federal candidates. That we will also, as a part of this resolution, bind to some very vague notion of supporting our national priorities. So this is basically a continuation of the previous resolution of of only endorsing candidates that, supports a very vague notion of what DSA stands for. I don't think it is in good taste to keep pestering our members to donate more and more money. And I would therefore oppose this resolution.
Okay.
Point of information, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Andrew Thomas, Rock DSA, he, him. Just to the motivators, could they clarify how we get $74,610 of staff time for 80 hours of work?
I believe that was actually from the CBO version of the.
I'm going to pull it up and take just a look and see if I can decode. However, I was not the person who generated the budget analysis. Was done by multiple members of our staff, so I can't promise. But give me a second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there another speaker for?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Marilyn, she, her, from Philadelphia. I'm really, really excited to support this resolution because it gives us the opportunity as a national organization with over 55,000 members. We just chip in the price of a cup of coffee. We get halfway to that goal of $500,000 today. We're going to be able to send this money to candidates in local races who we endorse for class struggle elections to win for socialism, to win for DSA, to make our organization a force in politics, in electoral politics, to put our money where our mouth is, to win things. Because right now, we've gotten lucky. We've won some incredible races, gotten a lot of media attention, tireless hours from our organizers and our volunteers, just getting out on the streets, knocking thousands and thousands of doors, and we've won. But unfortunately, we've seen that these races have been in chapters that are well-resourced. New York's had a lot of wins. What if we were able to pull our money together as an organization and inject cash into local races in states like Kansas, in states like Minnesota, in states like Georgia? Hello. I think that if we don't pass this resolution, we are saying that we want chapters to be isolated. We don't want to fund people's local races, and we're not going to use the strength of our national organization in the strategic way to win for socialism. Okay. So vote yes. Thank you.
Call the question.
Okay, there's been a motion to call the question. But Natalie, do you have an answer?
Yeah, so I have an answer to the question about the projected staff cost of $74,610. That estimate is based off of the staff's analysis, projected analysis that this amount of fundraising would require an additional staff person, and then estimated costs including necessary benefits and things like that for a staff person based off of our understanding of how much work and how many hours it has taken for DSA to raise comparable amount of money is that amount.
We didn't get an answer about the point of information earlier about whether this could be used for ballot initiatives.
I can't hear you.
Or someone, we did?
It was yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's been a motion to call the question and end debate. Is there a second? All those in could you squat? All those in favor of closing debate, raise your placards. All opposed? That passes. So we are now debating resolution number 49, PAC spending for nationally endorsed candidates.
Did you vote on the resolution? You voted on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're voting right now. Yeah. So we are voting on resolution number 49, PAC spending for nationally endorsed candidates. All those in favor of passing resolution 49, raise your placards. All opposed? That fails. Okay. So next we are going to move on to the membership and organizing development section. I'm going to pass it over to my comrade, Chris Riediu, and hold tight for just 1 sec as we make this transition.
Good morning, everybody. Let's have some order here. I want to apologize for being late. The elevator didn't want to stop on 17, so it took me a while. I'm sure others are familiar with that. We are on Resolution 33, Invest in Political Education, and there's one amendment, number 25, adding language on Big Tent political education. So is there somebody here who can first motivate the original resolution number 33?
Yes.
Name, chapter, etc.
Thanks, Comrade Chair. Again, my name is Marianela. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of Chicago DSA. So at its heart and in its title, this resolution asks DSA to increase our investment in political education. We should invest in political education so that we can learn with and from each other about the questions and the debates of the socialist legacy that we've inherited and build a shared understanding and vocabulary from which to sharpen our analysis and hone our strategy. So in preparing for this convention, and since I've been here, I've talked to members in chapters who have built political education programs like night schools and event series. I've also talked to members in chapters who have great ideas for political education who need support to turn those ideas into programming. And this resolution would provide that support by tasking DSA with consolidating the resources created by chapters across the country and making them accessible to any member of DSA. As an MPC candidate, I want to make this a key task of our national leadership. This resolution would also create new resources, like learning modules that chapters could use so that they don't have to rely on being lucky enough to have educators in their chapter who can put together a political education program. It would also create speaker series like the one we've just had with Jane McAlevey and guides to members and chapters about how to use these new materials. At its core, this resolution is about helping every single member to build the confidence to clearly explain to anyone why fighting for socialism is the way that we build a better world. Thanks.
Thank you. The first thing that we actually have to deal with is amendment number 25. So that's on the floor. Is there somebody who can motivate that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Over here.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Justin Charles, he, him. I'm from the New York City chapter. So I'm a member of the North Brooklyn branch, and I'm also involved in the North Brooklyn branch Political Education Committee, where we've run a very successful socialist night school for the past year. I'm not here to critique the socialist night school model. It's been really great for us. I think it's good. But it's not the only model. DSA, I know, can be a big, unruly organization, but within that unruliness has grown a variety of approaches to political education across the country. These approaches reflect the ideological and tactical diversity of the organization, They reflect the depth and breadth of the left's history and intellectual tradition. They reflect our commitment as socialists to dismantling all structures of repression. If we're to have a political education program reflective of all that this organization is and can be, we should make the composition of our National Political Education Committee a more democratic one, one in which every member who wants to has the opportunity to nominate themselves for it. I'm not opposed to us forming a political education program. I know some folks probably will say that I am. That is not true. What I'm for is something that reflects what this organization is. I fear that this resolution will be used to advance ideological lines. It will not incorporate all views and perspectives that are in this organization. I'm a little worried that it doesn't talk about how this committee comes to be. I don't want this committee to be a group of people, one group of people who all agree with each other, trying to tell us all how we should do political education. So please support this amendment. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there a speaker against the
point
amendment?
of personal privilege?
Yes.
While I appreciate there are a lot of comrades wanting to speak on this, I am very concerned about the number of people crowding the aisles, both from safety and also from the visibility of some of the comrades who are sitting close to there. If I could ask, after taking Progressive Stack into consideration, for anybody more than 5 or 6 people in to please take a seat.
Okay, thank you. People, the request is for people basically toward the back of the lines on either side to reconsider whether they want to speak or to kneel down so that folks on the sidelines can see better. Thank you. We're still on amendment number 25. We've had a speaker in favor. Is there a speaker against the amendment?
Yeah.
You're against the amendment. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sanjeev Gupta, Pioneer Valley, he, etc. I oppose this amendment as the education co-chair of the Pioneer Valley because we would have greatly benefited from a central repository of materials to draw from that we would then, in any case, bend to our will. I also oppose this amendment generally because I joined the Democratic Socialists of America, not the Democratic Socialists of the Pioneer Valley. I wonder if we'd be better off, frankly, acknowledging the underlying tension in many of these resolutions between those who want a more or less powerful national organization, and asking ourselves, where does that tension fall on the spectrum of effectiveness? Is it tending to the creative or energizing side, or to the corrosive, draining side? We may not want to answer or be able to answer that question now, but we should soon. My own view is that to fight a ruling class that is nationally organized, we need a national organization that is more than a loose aggregation of local ones. That is why I joined DSA. At the same time, in our own chapter, the Big Tent has been stimulating and generative as reflected in the mix of our 5 delegates. But it is possible for big tents to become overstuffed and unstable. Perhaps at the next convention or even earlier, we can engage in this debate fully and frankly instead of in 2-minute increments.
Thank you. Sir,
call the question.
Okay, I hear from the back, call the question. Is there a second? Okay, we're on the amendment number 25. This is to call the question on the amendment. All of those in favor of calling the question, raise your cards. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to a vote on amendment number 25, adding language on Big Tent political education. All of those in favor of the amendment, raise your cards. All of those opposed? The amendment fails. We're now back to Resolution 33, Invest in Political Education. We had a speaker for to motivate it. We'll take a speaker against. Is there someone you're against? Okay. And again, we're going to try and watch for Progressive Stack so that we can get a mix of folks, including more women, to speak. So take you over here, but keep that in mind.
Hi, my name is Adam Leeds, New York City, he, him. So, I'm a professor of Soviet history. I wake up in the morning into a pile of books. I read Marx for a living and teach it. You might expect that I have some opinions about socialism and about political education. And I do, and yet I'm speaking against this resolution. There's about 1,100 other socialists in this room. I imagine some of you might have opinions about socialism. I do not think it is beneficial for this organization to create a bully pulpit, to create a point of conflict in which people who have very, very strong opinions about socialism, of which there are many and that is wonderful, will see an opportunity to produce materials that replicate their particular opinions about socialism. There is a very healthy ecosystem of socialist debate within and around DSA right now. There's our own publications. There's the publications produced by the various caucuses. There's the publications that surround DSA, from current affairs to Jacobin to commune. There is plenty of places in which comrades can receive very well-considered political opinions about a variety of issues facing socialists today. What we don't need to do is create a position that has the authority or the mandate to speak in the name of DSA about what socialism is or should mean to DSA, and is given a transmission belt to beam that directly to all of our chapters. This is the reason that I speak against this. I relinquish the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker for?
Hi, Erin She, they, New York City. Just to kind of respond to the comrade who just spoke, it seems to me that assumes that the implementation of this would be poorly implemented, that whoever would do it for nefarious reasons. And I'm speaking for this amendment because the vast majority of us in this room were raised under capitalism and conditioned under that, and we need to unlearn that. And I'm still unlearning things. The first time someone said to me, abolish private property, I said, you're an idiot. And I was already a DSA member, and then I thought about it, and then I read about it, and then I read Marx, and I thought about it some more, and I was like, yes, we need to abolish private property. But raising class consciousness is a process. It involves organizing, but it also involves education, and it has to be intentional education because we do need to unlearn capitalism. And then I also want to, I wish I had made an amendment, but I just also want to implore that political education also includes reading authors of color, reading black people, reading women, and not having a night school that is if you have a night school that's a year long, you shouldn't have one day dedicated to feminism. You should have every day dedicated to feminism. And you shouldn't have one day dedicated to the civil rights movement and black people. Every day should be dedicated to that because that's what it means to create a multi-tendency, multiracial feminist organization. So I really encourage you all to vote for this resolution so that we can build a class-conscious movement for socialism.
Thank you. Speaker against?
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules and add that amendment to this resolution?
The chair didn't hear an amendment, just a speaker in favor.
I'll make an amendment.
Okay, so do we want to suspend the rules?
For that particular amendment that the comrade made.
Particular amendment?
Or if the authors want to take it as friendly, I don't know if that's allowed.
Oh, 2/3, okay. So a motion to suspend the rules requires 2/3. It's not debatable. All of those in favor of suspending the rules in order to allow for an amendment to the Invest in Political Education, please raise your cards.
Point of information. Point of information.
We're in the middle of a vote, so hold that thought.
It was tough getting over here.
The motion is to suspend the rules. Please don't call out. That's not helpful. The motion is to suspend the rules to allow for an amendment based on the previous speaker's comments.
And what would the amendment language be?
The amendment language is not at debate right now. What is on the floor is the motion to suspend the rules. Suspend the rules requires 2/3. It's not debatable, even though we seem to be having debate. All of those in favor of suspending the rules to allow for an amendment, raise your cards. All of those opposed, the motion to suspend the rules fails. We're back to the main resolution, number 33. Okay, we have a speaker for, so we now have a speaker against.
Hello, Jen, she, her, New York City. So I'm incredibly disappointed that the amendment failed because I agree that we desperately need to facilitate the political development of our members. And, right, I agree with what Aaron said over there, that it needs to be properly implemented. But if it's not democratically controlled, how can this political resolution, political education be accountable to the members, right? We don't need a top-down approach with one-size-fit-all solutions, right? M4A-style boxes and a socialist night school, it's not a pedagogical approach, right? And so, I'm part of the New York City Soc Fem working group. We have one of the best political education programs in the city, I must say. And our approach is all about, like, helping our members develop their own ideas, engaging in discussion, empowering people to create their own syllabuses. And I'm concerned that if this resolution is not an open process, if there's not clear democratic elections, right? Like, then this committee is going to be dominated by a certain, political tendency, right? And that's not how we develop our members, right? It's a top-down approach to creating a line, right? And that's not protecting the big tent. Right? I think we just utterly need to repudiate this idea that chapters need to be told what to do instead of helping chapters spread and gather materials that they are developing themselves, right? So I encourage you, please vote down this resolution. Thank you.
Comrade Chair?
Yes.
Mike, they, them, Pittsburgh. I move the previous question on the main motion.
Thank you. The question on the main motion has been moved and seconded. If we vote for this, again, we're closing debate, and we'll go immediately to a vote on Resolution 33. All of those in favor of calling the question, raise your cards. All of those opposed, motion carries. We'll move to a vote on Resolution 33, invest in political education.
Point of information.
Okay. All of those in favor of Resolution 33, raise your cards. All of those opposed, motion carries. We're now at a point where we're supposed to take a break. And then we'll continue.
Whoa, only 5 minutes over time. Just hold 1 second. So we are going to take a break so you can stretch your legs, get your wiggles out, and then we are going to come back at 11 a.m. And I'd like to recognize the comrade over here.
Thank you. A quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over, like, it doesn't matter. Your need to express yourself is not more important than other delegates' ability to perform. Thank you.
Let me just add that this goes also for people who are hard of hearing, where the background noise makes it difficult to hear what's going on. If you want to have a discussion with members of your delegation or someone else, take it outside the room so that people in the room can hear what's going on. Thank you. So we're going to take a break till 11. We have another
Just one quick announcement from the security team. The rumors of our opposition have been, as often is the case, greatly overestimated. You are many. They are few. There are about 5 people with Trump signs out there. And they are wondering, why isn't anyone engaging with us? They are incredibly bored. They're loudly talking about that. I would really appreciate it if we could keep that going, right? Do not engage with them. Pretend that they are not there. We are mindful of all the other security risks that might happen here, but please humiliate them as they stand alone out there and do not give them the thing they came out here to get.